And stop this idea of thinking that your friends have to be the ones supporting. They have their own lives. You don't support everything they do. So why do you think starting this podcast has helped me open up more, become myself? Things I wish I knew before starting a podcast. Okay, so this video, I'm going to be sharing things I wish I knew before starting a podcast. In fact, I'm actually doing this video because a guest that was scheduled to come on the podcast, last minute kind of canceled due to some logistical issue, which wasn't any fault of theirs. But yeah, it just made me sit and began to think, wow, why am I doing this again? So yeah, things I wish I knew because it's easier. Some of our dreams or aspirations are easier imagined than done. You have this bright idea, this wonderful wish or desire. You feel like, oh, wow, if only I can have this, if only I can do this, it'll be so fantastic. But you never know what the undercurrents of those, type of dreams are. The kind of sacrifices, disappointments, let down, discouragements you face along the way. But you just keep trudging along because if it's something you definitely truly believe in, you don't let things, stop you. So one of the things I'll say I never knew, things I wish I knew before starting a podcast is, number one, it's a lot of work. Like work. It's so glamorous, behind the scene. Watching it as a viewer or as a listener. And before I started this podcast, I love listening to podcasts, I have a lot of favorite podcasts. And when I listen to them, it seems so, so natural, so like easy peasy, having lots of fun doing it. But that's as a listener, as a viewer, but actually doing it, putting pen to paper, like rolling up my sleeve to do it, I'm realizing that it is a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of organization, a lot of self-motivation also goes into it, coming up with ideas. I mean, for people who are naturally creative, I doubt it'll be as hard. I guess what I'm saying is also relative because I don't consider myself a naturally creative person. Creativity doesn't come natural to me, right? It's just me going out of my way to try, make things happen. So sometimes I struggle. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, what topic do I talk about? Which guest do I invite? And on days like this, when guests, cancel on me last minute, I'm like, oh my God, so what do? I try to make do with what I have, right? So yeah, a lot of planning, definitely goes into it. And I would say that I started this podcast not because I felt like I was going to be great at it. Sometimes our dreams make us delusional too, because I think a part of me, even though I knew I'm not a natural talker, I'm kind of introverted as well, kind of reserved. I wouldn't say my personality is out of, the water. I was like, whatever, it's an hobby. It's a hobby, I can just try, start it. It won't be bad if I start it and it works, and I get monetized, man, that would be so cool. So I started it on a whim, and then, yeah, it's been 2 years now, 2 years still going. Some days I say to myself, why am I doing this again? Especially when you're not seeing the growth you desire. And that's the number two. Number two thing I wish I knew was growth is going to be slow, or growth is slow, right? Some people have their podcast, they start their podcast and boom, it blows up, right? They have lots of viewers, lots of listeners, they monetize immediately. But that isn't my story. I'm still going through it, like one step in front of the other each day, asking myself, is this really beneficial? The thing is, I feel like I'm doing this because it's different than my regular 9 to 5 job. It's totally different than, my corporate job, right? So for me, it's like, okay, this is just that secret hidden, little hobby that I do by the side. And honestly, I hope none of my colleagues know about it, but I don't think they do because I've completely delineated my personal life from this. So it's just one of those things. I'm like, okay, yeah, let me start doing it and hopefully I get monetized. I mean, the first 6 months, I was actually doing it with my friend, Amaka. We started it together. She's been busy right now, taking care of family and others. So for now, it's just been me, and I've been like, okay, let me just keep doing. And a lot of the work I do myself, I do a lot of the editing myself. Sometimes I have, my nephew do for me, but I don't think I'm not spending so much. Like I do it at my free time. So it's not like, it's not like not being monetized is a negative for me, if that makes sense. Even though I would love to be monetized, but I just feel like, okay, yeah, it's not like I'm putting in so much and not getting anything out. The only thing I'm putting in is my effort, my time, my my energy, which it would be nice to, to get monetized. But yeah, so one thing, like if you're planning to start a podcast, just know that it's even though it looks like a walk in the park, it's not, completely so, except for some people. Like I said, some people just get it going, maybe especially people maybe who had good following, good social media following before they started, or people, or maybe celebrities, or people who are just people. Some people have amazing electrifying personality that once you watch them, you're like, ooh, like you just want to keep watching, keep listening, so yeah, those people are there. But for people like us, or the rest majority of people too who do podcasting, it's a gradual growth, it's a build up over the years. Like I go back to when I started, and I'm like, I look at our earlier videos, I'm like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, we're making slow progress, improving, not where we need to be yet, but at least just some little progress, if you ask me personally, if I was to score myself. Yeah, it's been a long journey. I hear the 1%. I don't know, I was reading the statistics somewhere that the 1% or 10% of podcasters are the only people who make money or something, or there's some kind of statistics there. So it's not as easy, especially when you're banking on like the podcasting apps like the Spotify, Apple, and all that to make your money from. It's good that we have YouTube now. You can also publish this on YouTube, and sometimes YouTube even does better than those listening app, and vice versa, right? So yeah, there are times when I have we've done videos, or I've done videos, I'm like, oh man, this will be the video, this will be the one that will blow me out of the water, this will be the one that people will identify with and go viral. But now it's so disappointing. But yeah, you just keep going, because it's just, honestly, if it's what you really want to do, just keep doing it. Eventually the money that will come, hopefully. Hopefully. But if it doesn't come, well, you're doing something, you're producing content, you're sharing people's story. Like on this podcast, we share people's story. People come, interview them, they talk, share their personal life stories, and I love it. There's nothing I love more than hearing people's story. Oh my God, I love hearing about what makes people, right? How they grew up, how what their dreams, desires. I love it so much. I love it. But anyway, that's it. And then number 3, let me just look at my book. Someone once said that for you to succeed, sometimes in whatever you're doing, business, career, you have to have some kind of delusion. You have to be so deluded that you believe you can do it, right? Like I look at myself, I'm like, wow. I'm just sometimes deluded, because I'm like, okay, this will be the video that will do it for me, or this will be, my podcast. With that podcast, everyone hears, learns about. I think 2 years ago, I actually had a vision board where on my vision board, and I'm looking at it behind the wall. It says the podcast for the people in the know. So that's how I identify my podcast, the podcast for people in the know. So what that signifies or means is that people seek after my podcast for information, right? For upliftment, for encouragement and inspiration. That's the way I see it in the future. That's the future, right? The goal. Right now, I don't know if it is. I don't know. Based on my listener, based on my view, or my subscriber base, I don't know if it is, but I believe one day, so long as I keep going, and so long as I keep, pivoting or going as God leads me, as the Spirit leads me, because I'm a Christian, and the Bible says, as many as are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. So I believe God leads and directs us in whatever path we're taking. So long as I keep going in that path, one day this podcast, and I'm saying it now, declaring it, one day this podcast will be a podcast for people in the know, where people are like, oh, have you heard about Life as We See podcast? Have you listened to their new episodes? Or this, that, that's what, the hope and my prayer and, expectations is that it will become one day, in the name of Jesus. Amen. This is a prayer. Okay. So another thing, what I wish I knew about starting a podcast is it would really test you and expose to you parts of yourself you never knew about. Like, it's taught me so much about myself. Some of those podcast episodes where I've come, and for instance, even when I'm interviewing people and I don't expect, or I wasn't planning or anticipating to share anything personal, any of my personal story, anything personal about myself. And I end up sharing it and being vulnerable with my guests, kind of getting their feedback, about my situation, about my life. Like it's really helped me. It helped me realize that, wow, I actually, can be vulnerable. I actually can, receive inspiration or encouragement from others, because sometimes, I guess, I don't know if it's a personality thing or just the way I grew up, a lot of times I'm very closed off. Like I can just, have these walls. I don't want to share, maybe open up too much of myself. But starting this podcast has really pushed me to share, because I think people identify a lot with other people's story, other people's personal struggles, because we all have struggles, we all have stories. So in sharing it, you're able to connect with people connect with them where they are and encourage them. So I think it's helped me open up more, become myself more. Oh my God, I used to be so afraid of before I started this podcast, the thought of just having a camera in front of my face and speaking terrified me. Like, for the longest time, I always wanted to do this. Always wanted to do YouTube, actually. Maybe not podcast, more like YouTube, because I also love watching YouTube. I was like, oh my God, no. People, they'll put mean comments, they'll be unkind, like all of those thoughts. And I never, but one thing I used to do then was I kind of project this desire for YouTube on other people, my friends. I'll be like, oh, you're so good. And yeah, I have wonderful, fantastic, talented friends. I always like encourage them to start YouTube, do something, put something out, and that is that part of me that also wants to do it, projecting onto them. And until I started this, podcast, and I was like, okay, this is actually me doing this, facing my fears. So another thing is, it helped me face my biggest fears of like public speaking, just of people, because like having people, putting myself out there so that people will have the opportunity to judge me, right, or criticize me. So yeah, it's helped me face my biggest fears. Yeah, so that's it. And it's not been a walk in the park. It's not been easy. It's been a lot of highs and lows. Some of the episodes on the channel, maybe that get that successful or did well or doing well, that it's always so much, oh my God, yes, finally I'm a podcaster. Yes, finally I'm doing it. It's so funny how one's mood changes, and I wonder how it is for business owners. I assume this is how they feel when sales is up, when your sales are up. Feel so good in high speed, you feel success. Yes, I'm a business owner. And when sales tank or are down, you're like, what am I doing? That's the way I feel with this one. So episodes or weeks where I'm getting a lot of traction or momentum on some of my videos, I'm like, yeah, finally doing it. I'm a podcaster, yay. But when I get those low views or like not doing episodes, not doing well, I'm like, am I doing this again? Like, it's just the high and lows of it. But yeah, I think it's normal. So if you're someone out there who is talented, gifted, I know a lot of people who I think, ridiculously, they're talented, they have great personalities. And I'm like, wow, I wish this person would utilize this talent. I wish they would, just share some of that brightness of their lives, that personality, that charisma with the world. We are all called separately, for different people. You won't be everyone's cup of tea. I won't be everyone's cup of tea, right? But the right people that are called to you, they would find you, they'll find your channel, they'll find you somehow and migrate to you. So I think if you're thinking of starting a podcast, starting a YouTube, starting a business, whatever it is, face that fear, confront it. What's the worst that can happen? You fail at it, so what? You won't be the first and you won't be the last, right? But you will never know except to try. For instance, if I stop podcasting tomorrow, I know one thing for sure, that I tried it and I know how it feels, and I have the experience and I learned a lot from it. And that's it. If that is the only reason why I even started this in the first place, I think that's sufficient, honestly. So it always does not have to end in maybe success or one big gigantic thing, even though it's the prayer we all have, and it's a prayer I have for this podcast. But, regardless of that, like just starting it alone, just facing my fear, confronting that fear and just going for it, it's really helped me. Even in my communication, right, with other people. Like I've interviewed people that, man, like some of the topics, I'm like, okay, what? But it just pushes me to go search, read, study, and get some kind of curiosity about other people's lives and be able to engage with them. So it's really good. So if you're thinking of starting a podcast, it's not going to be easy, even when you don't see the numbers. Even when you don't feel like you're growing, don't give up. Just keep going, because one day it will be a thing. And like I said, even if it's not a thing, you've learned a thing or two from it. Yeah, so I think this is me. It's almost the end of the year. The year is coming to an end, and I'm recording this in October. So yeah, it's time to just reflect and think back and wow, and ask myself, why am I doing this again? And I just keep hearing that voice in my head. Okay, you're doing it because you just wanted to do it. You wanted to do something different than your regular 9-to-5 job. You wanted to, challenge yourself, put yourself out there and see how it feels. And yeah, I've done it 2 years now, and yeah, still trudging along. I haven't lost the passion or the zeal for it. So I'll just keep going until I'm tired, or I'm like, okay, next, and then I'll stop. But I hope not, But yeah, I just wanted to share this comparison. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to other podcasts. There are podcasts that started same time as I did, that started later than I did, and they're doing wonderfully well. Sometimes it can be discouraging, but we're all on different path, different journey. We'll grow differently. So the learning there is, don't let what someone else is doing influences that someone else is doing better doesn't mean it's not a slight on your own efforts, right? Because if they can do better, if they can grow, it means you too, you can grow at some point. I am actually signed up to a lot of Reddit forums, about on podcasting or YouTubing and all that, right? And I love reading those forums because people come with their sad days, like I'm not my channel isn't doing well, or they come with testimonies of, oh, I posted this episode and lo and behold, I woke up and it did like 1,000 views, 100,000 views, it went viral. So seeing those type of stories, it kind of brightens in my day. It kind of makes, okay, so I'm not in this alone. A lot of people also are facing this same, type of things, struggles. And so I'm just hearing other people's testimonies also inspires me to know, okay, one day it could be me. I could be the one doing the numbers. Right. So yeah, that's it. And I guess it's not just for for podcasting or YouTube, it's for everything, whatever it is you're doing, even if it's a relationship, that you feel like, oh, it's not giving what it should be giving right now. Just stick with it, just don't just throw in the towel or give up. Stick with it, get help if you need help, pray, counseling, whatever, and one day it'll get better. Yeah, I just wanted to do this short episode because I was like, why not? I have my equipment set up, and since my guests didn't show up, I was like, oh, let me just do this. Remind myself again why I started this, and hopefully one day it becomes what I really, really want it to be. Publishing every week by week. It's been a lot of work, but work I love to do, not complaining. So yeah, and stop this idea of thinking that your friends have to be the one supporting. When I started this podcast initially, I always thought, oh, my friends have to always watch and comment and like, otherwise they're not supporting me enough. Says who? They have their own lives, right? They have things they're interested in and doing. You don't support everything they do. So why do you think they will support? They have the time. I mean, it's a lot of I assume you have good friends, and I assume they want to support you. And if they're not supporting you as you think you will, maybe they have other engagements or things they're doing, right, with their time. And that's okay, right? It's not so, and from what I've learned actually from YouTube, at least, the algorithm, it's not by people clicking on your video, it's by people who are really interested in what you're producing, your content, so that they watch and they engage with it. They watch all the way till the end, they engage, they like, they subscribe, all of those things helps, right? So it's not about maybe, oh, my dad didn't like, or my mom or my friends or my aunts didn't watch, or no, right? Just do your work and then let things be as they may, right? So yeah, so don't be discouraged, keep going, keep pushing, and I'm speaking to myself as well, and we'll reap the reward in due season. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This is not the usual topics I usually go for, but I just wanted to do this as a reminder to myself and maybe to you watching. If you're planning to start a podcast or YouTube or whatever, go ahead, do it. Take that first step. Yank off the, what do they call it? What's that saying? Yank it off the I don't know. Just go ahead, do it, right? Go ahead, do it, and you learn a lot. You succeed. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and keep coming back for more. Thank you. Bye-bye.